Hey guys, meteorologist Lindsey Slater here. Let's have a little conversation about the potential of some strong and severe storms as we go into this evening. Now, there isn't a lot going on right now, but I wanted to highlight the Storm Prediction Center. Right now, you can see that we do have an area that does have that potential of having those strong and severe storms. What's likely going to be happening is from basically west pushing east, we'll get a line of these scattered showers and storms, and they kind of bow a little bit, which means they have like this curve. This really indicates wind pushing into it, and that is a good indication that we'll have damaging wind gusts as one of the primary threats. We also do have a risk of brief spin ups, which, yes, that is another term for tornado. I say brief spin ups because when you have a line of scattered showers and thunderstorms, we call this a squall line. You can get these little notches that form, and along that line could feature these tiny little spin ups. We're not talking big supercells here, guys. So we do have this risk. You can see the Storm Prediction Center has us in a 2 out of 5. There is an area of the potential of tornadoes, especially west, where this line really interacts with some warm, moist, humid air. The wind outlook, that's my biggest concern for areas along the lakefront. There is a hail risk. It is more centralized as well, as that's where we are going to have some peak energy happen at that time. So let's talk a little bit about the weather models. We're going to look at the 12Z. I did have a question yesterday about what that meant. 12Z is just a model run. So 12Z in Central Time, that is basically 6 a.m. So the 12Z model run is 87% there, right here. I wish I knew how to have that little icon up that, like, when other bloggers and people, they like have a little icon that pops up when they're trying to show something. Anyway, I'm not that fancy. So you can see that right now, if we look at the live radar, I'll just Google it, live radar. Um, I guess I want to look at the Dopplers because that's a little bit more consistent. You can see right here, the latest live radar showcases. Let's go ahead and hit play, and you can see this is like the main band. Now that is heading towards areas in Green Bay. This is why the National Weather Service in Green Bay, they have flood watches in effect for this region, and that's mainly because they have that more potential of having that flooding. So that is because of that line that's going to be pushing in later today. Phew, sorry. So, as we look at the rest of our forecast, I'm not worried about that stuff. Yes, all of this is heading to Green Bay, but right here is where I would expect additional development to happen. And that development is what I'll be watching for us later today. And I think the H trip does a pretty good job of this. I've been saying all day this is a this is a 4 to 8 o'clock time frame. Sorry, I'm trying to make it bigger so you guys can see it a little bit better. It's not really working the way I intended it to work. Hang on one second. This is good enough. This is good enough. So we're here. I'll put my little mouse there. And you can see, yes, there are some potential of little pop-ups. That's pretty typical for convective systems like this. You get these little baby pop-ups. These are the ones that have hail and also lightning and frequent downpours. But then right there, this is what I'm more concerned with. This big old, let's change the sector so we can see it a little better. See, like this, these little lines that kind of curve like this. You see that? That's a really good indication of damaging wind gusts. And that's arriving at 23Z. So 21Z is 3 p.m., 4, 5. So we're looking at a 5 o'clock, maybe even gone by 6. Now, the models have picked up the timing a little bit. I don't know if I buy it. And the reason I say that is because at one point today, see the winds? This is right now, basically. The winds are out of the south. They do take a slight curve southeast. That does have a tendency to dry out the atmosphere and not allow for these storms to push through as readily. So that's why I'm going with a 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. time frame. And remember, we also cover Sheboygan and Fond du Lac counties. So just because it's not raining consistently from 4 to 9 o'clock in your neck of the woods doesn't mean that it's not somewhere. So specifically, you're going to have this threat for probably 2 hours. But areas north right here, their threat goes until almost 9, 10 o'clock. But everybody else, it's really about this big old line that passes through. The wrap, I think, also has this. It's not as like intense, but it has the activity coming in almost as early as 1 o'clock. I don't buy that solution either. I'm thinking a later day one. And the NAM, I'm going to go to NAM Nest. It's a little bit more specific. Also has this broken line of scattered showers and thunderstorms arriving by 5 o'clock. So this is what I'm concerned with. I know there's Fond du Lac's fair is going on. Waukesha County Fair starts today at noon. If you're going to that, go early and get out of there by 4, maybe even 3, and really keep an eye on the horizon there. And as far as photographs go, Oh, I can't generate a sounding. That makes me sad. That's okay. We have backups. So as we look at soundings, this is just going to tell me the vertical profile of the atmosphere. This gives me a good idea as to, do we have a tornadic threat? How much energy do we have? So if I'm looking at this, so this is 15Z, that's 9 a.m. Let's take a peek at, this is 0Z. So this is about 5, 6 o'clock. The hodograph in the correct quadrant, not a lot of speed shear, but it definitely has some directional shear. And we also have those, the veering winds, or the winds that veer. So that's from my perspective. But the winds basically are veering like that. And you see that down here, and it veers upwards. So looks like there is a cap at that point. I wonder if earlier in the day, yeah, earlier in the day, there's no cap. So this is not going to be a situation where we're capped. Definitely looking at marginal shear at that point, but the cape is really high. The energy is really high. I mean, the best cape is 2,700 joules per kilogram. The P watts are also really, really high, which is the precipitable water content. That's at 1.93 inches, which is really high for Wisconsin. Earlier in the day, it's at 1.27. This is, again, just a weather model, and later in the day it's at 2.2 inches. That's a lot of heavy rain, guys. So my best advice to you is just be vigilant on what's going on today. Make sure you have a way to get alerts. We don't have any watches or warnings currently in effect right now, but stay tuned to my social media pages, and I will have all the details on what you need to know about that. Again, just make sure you're aware, between 4 and 9 o'clock we have these scattered showers and thunderstorms that'll be pretty active across the region.